Warning, never use your debit cards, do this instead. People don't realize that debit cards are only good for one thing. And I'm going to share that at the end. But actually, credit cards are way better for you spending generally for 5 reasons. Now, I'm going to list them out for you. Number 3 proves actually that credit cards, if you use them well, are actually safer than debit cards. And then number 5 shocks a lot of people. And I don't think most of the population actually understand the 5th reason I'll share with you. And I think it's just because money isn't taught in schools properly. That's why I have my own Money.School, which is called Money.School. Because if you were taught this in school, you'd be a lot richer and the banks would be a lot poorer. Okay, so number 1 reason you should never use your debit cards and only use credit cards is because your debit cards do not improve your credit score in any way. And if you think about it, that's quite counterintuitive. Now, I'm probably going to come back to number 1 because it's one I'm going to have to expand on the most. But think about it. You're being what you think is smart with your money. You're using debit cards, not credit cards, i.e. you're only using money you have and you're not borrowing money. And yet the banks are penalizing you and you can't improve your credit score with debit cards, or your score is staying low or maybe even getting worse with debit cards. It kind of doesn't make any sense. You're being financially smart, you think, and actually it's stopping you from getting a mortgage maybe, or getting more lending in the future, or getting your limits increased. So I want to come back to this number 1 because I'm going to expand out on that. But point number 2 is that you get to earn various points and rewards and cash backs on credit card purchases. Now, before I drill deeper into this shouldn't need to be said, but it does need to be said. Warning, this is not financial advice. This is my financial experience and knowledge. I have never in 19 years missed a credit card payment, and I have never in 19 years gone over the 0% interest period, which is 30 odd days up to 59 days. If you go past the interest-free period of 30 to 59 days, you are putting yourself at a quite high financial risk and exposing yourself to quite a lot of interest payments. And you should not be doing that. Okay, so I'm going to assume that you've got your own financial discipline, and 30 or 59 days you'll leverage the interest free, then you'll pay it off, and then you'll repeat the process. Okay, now I've been using the British Airways Amex credit card for 19 years. And actually I've been using the business ones to run my ads. And we spend many millions a year on ads. And so probably for the last 16 years, I've been traveling around the world in business class for the price of economy. Without spending any more, just taking my spending that I would have put on my debit card anyway and putting it onto my credit card. Not spending any extra more money, not going over the interest-free period. So BA Air Miles is a really big thing. The next thing you can do is you can get cash back. Now, by the way, some of the cash backs aren't that great because it's 5% on a limit that you can spend. But if you got more than one card, one that can help you increase your credit limit. I'll talk about credit utilization in a moment because that's important. But if you have more than one credit card and you're getting 5% of your spend on your shopping, on things that you would buy anyway, you could build up many thousands a year in cashback. The next one that I really like is the hotels. So I've personally been loyal to Bonvoy, which is Marriott. There's Marriott hotels everywhere. And you can rack up points and end up getting free or much lower cost hotel stays, or you can get nice upgrades to suites and things like that. And again, that's something I've been doing for years. Now, I probably should have been doing this a lot more. I became a millionaire age 31, a decamillionaire age 35. I'm 46 plus taxes now. And because I'm financially well off, I haven't had to hack around with this too much. Although, like I said, I have been doing the British Airways air miles for many years. Had I been a bit more intentional with this, I'd probably have 59 credit cards now, and I'd probably be getting tens or hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of cash backs and air miles and bonvoys and you name it, especially if you have business cards on your businesses as well. Okay, so the third reason that absolutely you want to use your credit cards and not your debit cards, and this is actually quite shocking. But do you know if there's a fraud on your debit card, you are not protected in the same way? And you'd think it was the opposite. You'd think you've got your money in a main, maybe high street bank. There should be good protections from scamming and fraud, but actually it's the other way round. Now, Section 75 of the Consumer Credit Act of 1974 makes the credit card companies jointly liable on any fraud. But basically, the credit card companies, which are essentially the banks, they just have a bit more liability when you're using your credit card than the banks if you're using your debit card. Now, by the way, when you're using your debit card, if there's an issue, the bank can just freeze your account. 30 days, freeze your account. You can't get access to your own money. I'm hearing more and more people in my community saying that that's happened to them. It's happened to them if they've bought crypto. It's happened to them innocently. And now the banks have these powers where for 30 days, without any real questions, they can just freeze your account. Your own money in you're using your debit card in your personal current account. By the way, let me know in the comments if that's happened to you, because more and more people tell me as I tell these stories, facts, that it's happening to them. Whereas if you get your credit card frozen, that's money you didn't have in your bank and it's money that you're borrowing. And if you've got other credit cards, so you're protected from your own money, which again shouldn't be the case, but it is, if you use a credit card and not a debit card. And if there's any frauds, then the credit card company are often liable under Section 75 of the Consumer Credit Act. Also, under 100 quid, I understand you could just do a chargeback and it's a lot cleaner and easier. So basically, each time you use your debit card, you expose yourself to fraud and risk. Every time you go and put the card in the cash machine, and sometimes they've got the cameras in there. Anytime you go and tap and pay anywhere or buy anything, if you're using your debit card, you're exposing yourself to risk. With this digital ID that could be coming in, and with AI and everything, your whole identity can be stolen under fraud, and they can access your bank accounts. This is scary shit. But your credit cards are more protected than your own bank account. So I have 100 staff in my offices. I'm pointing upstairs because we're in the studio downstairs. And you know what? I would say on a weekly basis, there's some elaborate scam where emails have got hacked, where they're trying to ask people to log in and pay money. Sometimes, pretending to be myself or my business partner. Very elaborate, very clever, using AI. And if they hacked in and pretended to be me and got one of my staff who have access to our company accounts to pay money, we may lose that money forever. If it's a credit card, we're protected. Bet you didn't know that. A lot of people don't know that. And again, a lot of this is counterintuitive. What you've kind of been taught and programmed in school. Oh, open a bank account. Put all your money in it. Yeah. You want the banks to take the risk, not you to take the risk. Okay, point 4, reason why I believe you should use credit cards, not debit cards, is purchase protection and warranties. So you got to do your research here and you got to just check. Go and check something like Money Saving Expert with all the new credit card offers. But you often get purchase protection on a credit card that you don't get on a debit card. For example, they'll often give you damage or theft protection, often for 90 to 120 days, often up to 2,500. Or they'll often extend the manufacturer's warranty for 1 to 2 years more when you buy on a credit card, and you've got the fraud protection. And you've got the points and the rewards that you don't get on your debit card. Again, counterintuitive. Back to number 1 point. So I said to you on point 1 that you actually improve your credit score the more you use your credit card. Therefore, you can't improve it, or your credit is worse if you use a debit card. Now, of course, that means staying within the guidelines. Now, I had an ex-IFA who used to sell credit cards and loans for the banks, who whistle blew for me, and he told me how it worked in the system. So here's what it is. Number one is you want to utilize about 30% of your overall credit limit. So if you have 10 grand credit limit, you want to be about 3 grand a month. If you have 100 grand credit limit across cards, you want to be about 30 grand a month. If you're maxing your cards out each time, it could affect your credit score. So try and be at what we call credit utilization of about 30-ish%. Number two is you want to repay as frequently as you can. So remember I said you can get 30 to 59 days, 0% interest. Don't go over the 0% because then you could be into 20, 30% interest territory. You do not want to be doing that. That's very expensive debt. Warning, credit card debt is one of the most expensive forms of debt. However, if you always pay it off, then obviously you're borrowing the bank's money and you're getting these benefits. But if you pay it off weekly, not monthly, then you can repair your credit score quicker, or you can just get your credit score better more quickly. Okay, right. Then number 5, and that is you can work up to hundreds of thousands of pounds potentially in borrowing. So if you would like to get access to potentially 6 figures in credit card borrowing, you being responsible, even if you just use it for emergencies, and you'd like to improve your credit score, which means in the future, things like mortgages might be easier, then using a credit card, paying it off, paying it off, ideally weekly, not just monthly, getting another credit card, using it, paying it off, building up goodwill, building up your credit score. Then you can increase your credit limits, and over time you could get hundreds of thousands potentially in borrowing and have a really good credit score and be protected from fraud and theft and get all the rewards and points and get the warranties and the insurances. Why on earth would you be using a debit card? Now, I did say the debit card is good for one thing and one thing only. And that is if you want to withdraw cash. Often if you withdraw cash, then you know that's a very high interest rate doing it on a credit card. But again, that does open you up to risk of getting scammed. So you want to be careful with that. Now, I interviewed this ex-IFA who then decided he wanted to be an entrepreneur, having sold credit cards and loans for banks for many years. So he's kind of got this triangular, unique experience where he's learned the proper, traditional, highly regulated way of advising around managing money. Then he's gone and seen it from the banks from the inside, selling credit cards and loans. And he knew how to basically lure you in as a customer to get you into debt. And then he became an entrepreneur and went on the other side and thought, I'm going to use the banks at their own game here. And I'm going to play their tricks on them. Now, he's agreed to do a private 6-week series only for my Money.School members, where every week he'll get on his laptop, he'll show you how to get the credit cards, how to balance transfer, how to get the 0% balance transfer fees, how to find the cards with the best rewards. He'll answer all of your questions. He'll help you increase your limits. He'll give you like the scripts to say. If you have to do it online to a bot, he'll teach you what to write. If you phone him up, he'll teach you what to say because he's been there from the other side selling it on to you. This is currently running and it's inside Money.School, and you get this 6-week masterclass completely for free as a Money.School member. Now, Money.School costs less than 50p a day. You can cancel anytime. There's no ongoing contract, and there's hundreds of hours of courses, resources, and masterclasses to make, manage, and multiply money, to start and scale a business, to get your recurring income up and your tax and expenses down. But if you join right now, you can actually get access to this 6-week masterclass series live on how to hack the credit cards and the banks and raise hundreds of thousands at 0% interest. Sometimes people just need a little bit of extra credit to help themselves out of a difficult situation. Sometimes people want to leverage it to invest in assets. Some people just want it as an emergency. And as long as you use it responsibly and you don't go over the 59 days interest free, then there's multiple benefits. And there's virtually no benefits to using your debit card. So I personally would say, take your normal spending that you're doing on your debit card, put it on your credit card, rack up the rewards, the points, the insurances, the safety, the credit limits, play the banks at their own game and win. And remember, invest for freedom, choice and profit. And if you don't risk anything, you risk everything.